Hello, it's Ian again from the Archives Room at St Dunstan's College. We're looking at another aspect today of life here and the history of St Dunstan's. And today we're looking at the house system. Anyone who's alive today who went to St Dunstan's would have belonged to a house at the school. But that wasn't always the case. So the school was founded in 1888. But a house system wasn't introduced till 1914, so for the first 25 years there were no houses. And the reason for that is that the trustees of the college at the time, and indeed the first headmaster, Mr. Stewart, felt, and I quote, that such a system could result in invidious distinctions and favouritism. Now I'm not too sure what exactly they were getting at there, but they obviously did change their mind eventually and instituted a system for the first time in 1914. And that first system was based purely on where each student came from or lived. So it was based on 8 areas of London very close to the school: Brockley, Catford, Lewisham, Hither Green, Sydenham, Forest Hill, 2 others. And if you came from Forest Hill, you went in Forest Hill House, and that's all there was to it. If you lived further afield, you would be co-opted to the house that represented the closest area to where you live. But the problem with that is that obviously more people live in some areas than others, so you could get quite a big mismatch, particularly in sporting events, for example. If you have 40 people in one house and 20 in another, the bigger house is likely to be able to put out a better cricket or rugby team or whatever. And that shortcoming was recognised, and in 1919, just 5 years later, the house system was reorganised, this time with 8 houses rather than 4. And as many of you will know, that system introduced in 1919 took its names from 8 former pupils who had died during the First World War, being Goosey, Wilson, Bennett, Thomas, Ross, Lane, Johnson and Griffiths. And you can see here, these are the house shields for those 8 houses, each of them with its own colour, symbol and Latin motto. These particular shields were installed in what was the sixth form library, I think, in the 50s, and is now the Learning Resource Centre. They've become somewhat tarnished over the years, and a lady by the name of Jo Langthorne has recently done a fantastic job in restoring them to their original glory. And as well as these 8 shields, you have the War Memorial in the Great Hall that was inaugurated in 1922. And either side of that, you have a panel for each of these 8 former pupils, again with the shield and the colours and the motto. So that system, that 8-house system, that survived for a very long time, for 60 years plus, ultimately being replaced in 1989, I think, by the current system, which is made up of 4 houses. And those 4 houses are named after the first 4 headmasters of the college, being Stewart, Forder, Usherwood and Hecker. And to ensure a degree of continuity, rather than just randomly reassigning people from one of the old houses to one of the new ones, for example, Goosey and Wilson became Stewart House, Thomas and Bennett became Forder, Ross and Lane became Usherwood, and Griffiths and Johnson became Hecker. So there was a continuity also in the symbols and the mottos and the colours of the new houses. So although there are only now 4 houses compared to 8 previously, they each have elements of the houses that preceded them. One other thing I'd just like to comment on, having seen these for the first time in very, very, very many years, Lane House, if you'd asked me a few weeks ago what was the colour of Lane House, I would have said, oh yeah, of course it's white. And I'd have said that because the old school house ties would have been the house colour on a black background. So obviously, Thomas would have been the stripe of red and a black background. Lane, obviously black on black doesn't work, so it was a slash of white on a black background. And I certainly assumed that their house colour was white. It turns out actually the official colour is black, so I've learned something as well. You may have already known it, who knows. But anyway, that's it on houses for today, and I'm sure we'll be back with something else very soon. Thank you.